Hi, it's me again, Trisholiano, and welcome back to our complete training course for 2D and 3D. Now for today's lesson, the lesson 12, we are going to tackle the part 1 of modify commands. Okay, so these are the commands that we will be using to modify objects that are already been drawn in CAD. So let's start with this command, the mirror command, or MI for short. So first, we will draw this figure in the example. We will draw this in CAD. Okay, so by drawing the rectangle or the triangle, we can turn our ortho on. So press F8, then L for line. So L enter, and then we're gonna type C for to close the figure, and then we're going to type the text inside this triangle. So just type DT, enter, and then start point and the height. So the rotation angle of our text is 0, so just press enter. Then let's type R. Okay, so click in the workspace and then press enter. So we can move this figure inside the triangle. Okay. And now let's draw a line upward starting from this edge of the triangle and then another line downward. So this line will serve as our mirror line. Okay. So now let's start our mirror command. So type MI in the command line. So MI, then enter. And then we're going to choose all the objects that we are going to mirror, to be mirrored. So we were gonna select the rectangle or the triangle and the text. So after selecting, we will press enter. And then we need to specify the first point of our mirror line. So this is our mirror line. So we will use the end point of this line and then the second point of this line because that is our mirror line. Okay, so it is asking us if we're going to erase the object. So just press no, or it is already the default, so just press enter. Okay, so we see that our figure and our text has been mirrored, no? Okay, so let's go back to PowerPoint and then let's see, we have here another command, the MIRRTEXT command. So this is the figure that is shown in our CAD earlier. So it means that our MIRRTEXT is on. So if our MIRRTEXT is on, this will be our figure. And if our MIRRTEXT is off, this will be our figure. So the text remains the same. No? But when the MIRRTEXT is on, the text will also be mirrored. No? Okay. So let's try turning it off, the MIRRTEXT. So let's go to CAD. Let's copy this figure and then the lines. And then for copy, just press CO for copy and then you select the base point and then our second point. Okay. So this time we're gonna turn the MIRRTEXT off. To turn it off, we just have to type the command. So MIRRTEXT, we type the MIRRTEX, enter. And then, okay, so it is said in our handout that when the MIRRTEXT is on, the value is 1. And when the MIRRTEXT is off, the value is 0. So in our CAD, we can see here that the default is 1. It means that our MIRRTEXT is on. So to turn it off, we just need to press 0, then enter. Okay, so now the MIRRTEXT is already turned off. Okay, now we will try to mirror this figure again. So type MI, and then we select this figure, the triangle and the text, and then press enter, and we specify the first point of our mirror line. So this is our mirror line, the vertical line. So we select the first point, and then we select the second point, and then erase the source object. So no. Press enter because the default is no. Okay, so we have here two figures, and this figure shows the difference between the use of MIRRTEXT. So when the MIRRTEXT is off, this will be the output. The text is mirrored, but there's no effect on the text, no? But when the MIRRTEXT is on, the text will have that mirror effect like this one. Okay. So let's proceed to our next command, which is the rotate. So we will just type RO for short. Okay. We'll copy this figure and then just type CO. Okay. I will turn the ortho mode off so we can see the rotation of this figure. Okay. So to rotate, just type RO in the command line, then press enter. And then select all the objects that we want to rotate. So in this example, I want to rotate all of these objects. And then press enter. Okay. And then the next is, we need to specify the base point. So this point is the location where you want the objects to be rotated. Okay, so I am gonna select this edge and then specify the rotation angle, so we can indicate the specific uh, rotation angle that we want. So let's try, for example, 45 degrees. Okay, so now our figure is rotated with 45-degree angle. So in this command, you can just input an angle or choose your own rotation using the mouse. No? So let's try the rotate again. RO, enter, and then we select all these figures, and then enter. And then we select the base point or the basis of our rotation. So by using the mouse, you can see that we can manually rotate our drawing. Okay. And then press. Okay, so it's already, the command is already finished. Now let's proceed to the next command, which is the chamfer command. Okay, so let's go back to CAD. First, we need to draw a rectangle. So type REC in the command line. And then, okay, so we have this rectangle. Then, we'll copy this rectangle. So we select the rectangle and then type CO in the command line, press enter. And then we select the base point and then the second point or the destination point of your rectangle. Now we go to chamfer command, so just type CHA, C-H-A, then press enter. And then we input the value of distance chamfer or chamfer distance So it is the current mode is, we can see here that the chamfer distance 1 is 0 and the distance 2 is 0. So to input value in this chamfer distance, we need to type D, no? D for short for distance. And then it is asking us to give the first chamfer distance. So let's say 40 for our first chamfer distance. So 40, enter. And then for the second chamfer distance, we can use the same value. So 40, just press enter. And now we're going to select the first line that we're going to chamfer and then the second line. So you can see it seems that the corner has been chopped off. Okay. And then let's try another example. So just press enter because the last command that we made is the chamfer. So press enter or the space bar. And then we can change the chamfer distance again. So let's try this time 100. So type D to change the distance. So first chamfer distance, we're going to input 100, then enter. And then for chamfer's second chamfer distance, we're going to input again 100 or it is already in the default. So just press enter. Okay, so now we're gonna select the first line and then the second line. Okay, so you can see the difference. So we have this figure, or we have this corner chamfered by distance 40 and then this corner chamfered by distance 100. Okay, so again, we're gonna use the chamfer distance, but this time we're gonna use 200 chamfer distance. So press enter to repeat the last command that we have made. And then we're gonna select or type D to change the chamfer distance. So first chamfer distance, we're gonna use 200. For the second chamfer distance, just press enter because it is already in our default. And now we're gonna select the first line. We're going to chamfer. And then we're gonna select now the second line. So this is our second line. So you see, this is our figure being, our corner being chamfered by distance 200. Okay, so now we go to the okay, let's try another example. So we have here again example for chamfer again. So just press enter and then we change the first chamfer distance into 100. And then the second chamfer distance, let's have a different distance. Let's make it 40. Okay, so we will select the first line and then the second line. So you see the difference between the using different distances in our chamfer. So this is chamfered corner having an equal distance. And these three examples or three corners have chamfer corners with equal distances. Okay, so let's go to our next command. So our next command is the fillet. So for fillet, let's just type F for short. So type F in the command line, F, enter. Okay, so before we select the first object, we need to put some value in our fillet radius. Since the default here is 0, so you can see radius is 0. So we need to put some value. So let's just type R for radius, then enter. And then now we need to specify the fillet radius. Let's say 100 for our fillet radius. Okay, so now we're gonna select the first object. So it can also be the first line and then the second line or the second object. Okay, so you see that the corner has been filleted by radius 100. So let's try again the fillet. So just press the space bar to repeat the last command. So we can try it in all the corners, no? Okay. So just press again the space bar and then we select the first object and then the second object. So we see and then press space bar again. So we select the first object and then the second object. So you can see now that our rectangle is being filleted by radius 100 equally all the corners. And now let's go to the stretch command. So we have here the stretch command or S for short. So let's try to use the figure. Okay, so this one, let's try to use this figure. So place the cursor or select the object. No? We need to select the object first and place the cursor of your mouse at the end point of this line, the top end point of this line. And we can see that it turned red, this end point. I'm not clicking it, I'm just uh, pointing the cursor. So two options will appear. The first is the stretch and the second is the lengthen. So we choose the stretch option. So just type S, then enter. And now we're gonna choose the base point. So select the endpoint of this object. Excuse me. Okay, so the default here is move. Specify move point. But now we will select the base point. So type B for base point. And then we will select the base point of this object. And then specify the second point. And the second point, that will be your desired location. Okay? So you see that the our line has been stretched. Then draw a line here, somewhere here. Then we're gonna select the object, the line that we have drawn, and then again point the cursor, and we select the stretch, S for stretch, and then we're gonna choose again the base point. So type B, and that's it. Okay, but it has been moved. So let's just undo. Okay, so type, we're gonna select S, and then we're gonna stretch it up to this point. Okay. So now let's try to, ayan. We already have pulled it to the other endpoint. That is our location. Okay. Now, let's proceed to the next command. The next command is the lengthen command. Let's go to CAD, and then let's copy this figure. Okay, so for the lengthen command, for example, I want to lengthen this line. So I'm just gonna type LEN and then press enter, and then select the object that we want to measure. So it is written here in the command line. So select that we want to measure. So I'm gonna select this line. It says that the current length of our line is written here. So we have here 1982.4005. So that is the length of our line. So select DE for delta. And then we're gonna enter 100 for delta length. So we can see here delta length is 0. So we're gonna type 100, then enter. And then we select the object that we want to change. Okay, so we can see here that our object is being lengthened by 100 because that is the delta length that we have input. So it can be used as many times as necessary. Okay? So just click the side of the line that you want to lengthen. Okay? So now let's proceed to our next command, which is the break command, or the BR for short. So we're gonna select this example. Okay, so BR for short, the break. And then we're gonna select the object and then the second point of break. So we can see here that our line is breaking. So now this side is broken using the break command. So let's try another example. Let's draw a rectangle. So type REC in the command line. And then type BR again in the command line to break this one. So select the left side of the rectangle. So this one. And then we select the midpoint of this line for our second break point. So this is what happened when we use break command in a rectangle. Okay, so let's proceed to another modify command, which is the extend command, or EX for short. Okay, so for example, we will draw lines here. Type L in the command line, and then we have this line. Let's draw again another line, and then another line. And our fourth line is a vertical one. Okay. We can turn the F8 on or the ortho on to make it vertical. Okay. So I will use the extend command to extend these three lines up to this vertical line. So type EX in the command line, then press enter, and then If you want to select all, so just press enter again, and then all of the objects that we're gonna select will be extended. No? So if we select these objects, so you see, the object has, the lines has been, or the lines have been extended. So let's draw another vertical line, or we can copy this line, no? CO, enter. And then we're gonna copy this line. Okay, so let's try another uh, ex extend command. So by typing EX, enter, and then enter again to select all the objects that we want to extend. And now we're gonna select the lines. Okay. So you see that the lines are already extended up to this vertical line, which is served as the boundary. So remember that the extend command will only work if the lines to be extended have boundary lines on the other side that they want to be extended. So example, if we want to extend this one, it won't be extended because there's no boundary in here. No? If you want to extend this, uh, there are no boundary to be extended. Okay? So notice the distance of this line from the other vertical line. So now we will extend this line up to this line. So again, we have this line. So we can see the distance between these three lines. And then we're gonna extend these lines up to these vertical lines. No? So this will be our boundary. So just type EX, then enter, and then enter again to select all. So we can see that this line has been extended. Another line has been extended. Okay, we can extend this line and then click another one for another extension. Okay? Okay. And that is how we do the extend command. Now let's proceed to our next command, which is the explode command, or X for short. Okay. So let's try this command by drawing a rectangle. So type REC, enter, and then you can notice that these lines, this object, is composed of 4 lines, but it is only one object. Okay? So let's try to explode this line by using the explode command. So after we select this rectangle, just type X, then enter. So it seems like nothing happens, but when we select this, when we select the object, it is already broken into its component objects, which are the lines. So from one object, it became 4 objects. Huh? Okay. To make this into rectangle again or one object again, we're gonna use the reverse of the explode. We can use the region command that we have discussed from our previous lesson. So, escape. So, type region in the command line. Okay, region. And then, we select the objects, all the objects, and then press enter. Okay, so it is said in our command line that one loop has been extracted and one region has been created. So now we will notice that this object has turned into one object again. And we learned that the explode is the reverse of the region. And then the explode command has been reversed and it is now one object. So that is the use of uh, the command explode, exploding the objects, the one object into its component parts. Okay, so that's all for our lesson 12. So that is only the part 1 of our modify commands. Thank you for watching and see you on another video.